Xiaodia saw off all the young women. She returned to the room to find Li Qiye sitting with his eyes closed, meditating. Xiaodia sat silently beside Li Qiye, not speaking. After a long while, Li Qiye opened his eyes and slowly said, "Chaos is about to begin. This is unavoidable. Are you going back or staying?" Xiaodia took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on Li Qiye. She nodded and said, "I am staying." Xiaodia's attitude was resolute. She had made up her mind. Li Qiye nodded and said, "The storm is coming. Be mentally prepared. A bloody battle that will shake the heavens is at hand." Xiaodia nodded. Although she didn't know what kind of bloody battle it would be, Li Qiye's seriousness meant the fight would be extremely grave. "I'm exhausted." The little mud eel suddenly appeared, as if burrowing out from another spiritual domain, appearing unpredictably. Seeing Li Qiye and Xiaodia sitting together, the little mud eel glanced at him, then at her, and asked slyly, "I hope I'm not disturbing you too." "Hee, if I am, just carry on, carry on. Just pretend I didn't show up." Li Qiye glanced at the little mud eel. "Are you asking for a beating? Quickly tell me the matter." Xiaodia's face flushed red. She quickly stood up and said, "I'll go make you some refreshments." Xiaodia hurriedly left. After Xiaodia left, the little mud eel chuckled wickedly. It crawled onto a large chair and sat cross-legged, saying to Li Qiye with a smile, "Young master, this young lady is not bad. As I see it, she is becoming more obedient under the young master's guidance, knowing when to advance and retreat, having a sense of propriety. Keeping her is fine too." Li Qiye glanced at the little mud eel and said indifferently, "Since when are my affairs decided by you?" The little mud eel gave an awkward laugh and quickly said, "Haha, I'm only suggesting, just suggesting. Reporting to the young master, I have a major discovery." Li Qiye's spirits lifted as he asked, "What major discovery?" The little mud eel took out an object and handed it to Li Qiye, saying, "Young master, look at what this is. I guarantee this item has never appeared in the previous times the portal opened." Li Qiye took the object the little mud eel handed him. It was an object like a streak of black light, thin as a needle, radiating black light, capable of devouring time, incredibly terrifying. Li Qiye's pupils constricted. Time-space chaos streak. Li Qiye looked at the object in his hand and slowly said, "Could it be that the portal opening this time leads to a heavenly cave or domain that has problems?" The little mud eel shook its head and said, "I don't know. I've never seen this thing before. But one can imagine that when the portal opens, there will be many void doors inside leading to various heavens and earths. The appearance of this means that even before the portal opened, some void doors became chaotic, even shattered. How much powerful force would that require?" Li Qiye narrowed his eyes. "I have seen this before." Li Qiye slowly said, "It appeared once in the Heavenly Tao Academy, a long time ago. That time, the domain god was born, and the world tree appeared." Hearing Li Qiye's words, the little mud eel was shaken and gasped. "The world tree?" The little mud eel shouted in astonishment. "Isn't the world tree a legend?" Li Qiye shook his head and said, "It is not a legend. It's a pity that I couldn't climb at that time. I wasn't fully prepared." The little mud eel was stunned for a long time before regaining its composure. It said, "The portal will definitely open within this period. What should we do?" Li Qiye narrowed his eyes. A terrifying light flashed within. Regardless of whether the void gate truly appears, if the world tree shows itself, even without the void gate, it doesn't matter. This time, I absolutely will not miss it. The little mud eel muttered. What is behind the void gate? What does the world tree represent? Li Qiye smiled and said, "Since the ancient ages until now, few people know, unless you pass through the void gate and climb the world tree. Otherwise, no one knows the secret hidden behind it." The little mud eel lamented. "Damn it. The 9 great Celestial treasures are indeed mysterious. No wonder immortal emperors and true gods have sought to understand the secret behind them since the ancient ages. Li Qiye took out a treasure and tossed it to the little mud eel. You should wear this. It complements your large cannon. The void domain wheel. Seeing the object in its hand, the little mud eel cried out in surprise. This is the treasure the soaring emperor deceitfully acquired. It went missing after the soaring emperor passed away. The old master searched for the void domain wheel for a very long time but couldn't find it. This item has other uses, but for now, equip it as a weapon. Li Qiye narrowed his eyes and said, "The time has come for us to engage in a great slaughter." The little mud eel was excited. Great slaughter. The little mud eel rubbed its hands and said, "Ha ha ha, I love hearing that phrase the most. It's been a long time since I caused a major incident. When the time comes, young master, just give the order." Li Qiye closed his eyes and said indifferently, "Wait. Some old undying figures will become impatient." Several days passed. Anomalies occurred in the Heavenly Tao Academy. The ground shook every day. Sometimes, the shaking was severe, and cracks appeared. The land of the heavens and earth instantly became incredibly fragile. In an instant, people were terrified, especially the students of the two lower academies, the Great World Academy and the Leisure World Academy. The sudden occurrence of such a disaster made many students anxious. They didn't know what was happening. The Heavenly Tao Academy kept the matter confidential. Some students asked the academy heads, but they refused to say much. Seeing mountains crack and tall buildings collapse made the students of the Heavenly Tao Academy restless, fearing the apocalypse had arrived. In response to this sudden change, the students of the Great World Academy and the Leisure World Academy were anxious, but the students of the Pinnacle World Academy and the Sacred World Academy were different. They were geniuses hailing from great sects, powerful nations, and emperor lineage immortal gates. They knew a little inside information that the students of the Leisure World Academy and the Great World Academy did not. The Heavenly Tao Academy suddenly facing disaster caused panic among the students of the Great World Academy and Leisure World Academy. For most students of the Pinnacle World Academy and the Sacred World Academy, this was an opportunity. They had been waiting for this once in 10,000 years chance for a long time. The ground cracked more violently. Finally, the Heavenly Tao Academy announced a break for the students. The Heavenly Tao Academy stated, "Disaster has befallen the Heavenly Tao Academy. The territory is dangerous. For safety, all students should return home to rest for a period of time, and come back when the disaster has passed." The Heavenly Tao Academy issued the notice but did not force the students to leave. If the students of the 5 major academies wished to leave, the Heavenly Tao Academy would gladly open the Tao Gate to send them off. If they wished to stay, the Heavenly Tao Academy would not force them. Hearing the Heavenly Tao Academy's declaration, many students were stunned. Especially the students from humble backgrounds felt anxious. They had struggled greatly to enroll in the Heavenly Tao Academy, hoping to become talented and graduate one day. But now, the Heavenly Tao Academy was facing disaster, catching the students off guard. At this time, the Heavenly Tao Academy began sending disciples away. Within one day, the Heavenly Tao Academy opened the Tao Gate successively, sending away the disciples with shallow cultivation. I heard that disciples below the Marquis realm have all been sent away by the Heavenly Tao Academy. The sudden anomaly and shocking news exploded among the Heavenly Tao Academy students. The disciples of the Heavenly Tao Academy were its foundation. Disciples are different from students. Disciples are the true core of the Heavenly Tao Academy. Now, the Heavenly Tao Academy sending away a group of disciples with shallow cultivation made many students in the 5 major academies feel that the matter was serious. The Heavenly Tao Academy was truly facing disaster. This was no joke. Another bombshell news exploded in the Heavenly Tao Academy. I heard that the head disciple is also about to leave. In an instant, the storm intensified. People's anxious hearts became even more terrified. Yui was the most promising young disciple of the Heavenly Tao Academy. Now, Yui was being sent away. In a flash, everyone realized that the disaster facing the Heavenly Tao Academy was much more serious than they had imagined. Let's go too. We'll return after the disaster passes. Many students who had not intended to leave wavered. They packed their bags and set off. The Heavenly Tao Academy opened the Tao Gate to send the students who wished to leave away. From the academy, most of the students from the 5 major academies left, primarily those from the Great World Academy and the Leisure World Academy. Not many students from the Pinnacle World Academy and the Sacred World Academy departed. A few students from the Sacred World Academy who knew the inside story whispered, "It's time. Nothing in the world is leak-proof. Paper cannot wrap fire." When many students from humble backgrounds in the Great World Academy and Leisure World Academy left, a few students caught wind of the rumors. Some outstanding students from the Pinnacle World Academy didn't know the inside story beforehand, but when they inquired about the news, they insisted on staying in the Heavenly Tao Academy. A few students from the Great World Academy and the Leisure World Academy who had intended to leave also refused to depart after hearing the inside news. The legendary portal. Many people entered it since the ancient ages. The most famous was the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor of the Heavenly Emperor sect. Legend says that the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor was also a student of the Heavenly Tao Academy in the past and entered the portal. Rumor has it that the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor obtained one of the legendary 9 great celestial scriptures inside. The events that followed are known and passed down through generations. The Vast Sea Immortal Emperor became the invincible immortal emperor of an era, bearing the heaven's will and controlling the universe. Even more terrifyingly, the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor founded the Heavenly Emperor sect. For generations of immortal emperors emerged from the Heavenly Emperor sect, creating an unprecedented miracle since the ancient ages. Rumor has it that the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor founding the Heavenly Emperor sect and being invincible through the ages, with 4 generations of immortal emperors emerging from the Heavenly Emperor sect, was closely related to the opportunity he gained within the portal. Now, the portal was opening again. The students who hadn't known the inside story had their hearts race. Who in the world wouldn't want to become the second Vast Sea Immortal Emperor? The students of the Great World Academy and Leisure World Academy who stayed did so for the opportunity within the portal. It can be said that the majority of the Pinnacle World Academy students stayed for this portal. As for the monstrous geniuses of the Sacred World Academy, it's hard to say. Most monstrous geniuses of the Sacred World Academy came from great sects, powerful nations, and emperor lineage immortal gates. They knew more inside information. Rumble, 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 rumble. As days passed, the anomaly in the Heavenly Tao Academy became increasingly violent. The ground cracked. If not for the Emperor Foundation beneath the Heavenly Tao Academy locking down this land, it would have been torn apart. However, the situation became increasingly serious. If this continued, the Heavenly Tao Academy would be destroyed and shattered. Is this a sign before the portal opens? Students who didn't know the inside news were terrified looking at the cracking heaven and earth. Such terrifying power was enough to tear everything apart. If the portal contained such terrifying power, would they gain an opportunity by entering? They might just die inside. Students who knew the inside story were different, especially a few students from the Sacred World Academy. They watched the heaven and earth crack day by day. Though they didn't show it on the surface, they were extremely excited inwardly. The Sacred World Academy students couldn't help but say excitedly in the dark, "The Heavenly Tao Academy will vanish. In this generation, the ancestral vein of the heaven and earth will finally change hands." For students from ordinary backgrounds or those yearning for an opportunity, if they encountered an opportunity like the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor, they might rise to prominence in one step and dominate the Tao from then on. But students from ancient inherited lineages and emperor lineage immortal gates were different. They had deep foundations, emperor arts, endless treasures and weapons, and even possessed immortal emperor true weapons and divine treasures. To them, the opportunity within the portal was merely gilding the lily. The truly heart-racing treasure was the peerless ancestral vein beneath the Heavenly Tao Academy for their individual sect or lineage. For some monstrous Geniuses who entered the Heavenly Tao Academy with hidden agendas, the opportunity within the portal was secondary. Seizing the ancestral vein of the heaven and earth for their sect was the top priority. Moreover, the Heavenly Tao Academy's accumulation over tens of millions of years, its deep foundation, divine treasures, and immortal rarities were enough to make countless sects and lineages in the world drool. The quantity was beyond imagination. The cracking of the heaven and earth became increasingly severe. The Heavenly Tao Academy issued a final warning. Final warning. The Heavenly Tao Academy is facing a great catastrophe. We urge all students to leave quickly. At this time, someone stepped forward and swore allegiance, wanting to share the burden with the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Heavenly Tao Academy is in difficulty. As students of the Heavenly Tao Academy, we should unite and overcome this difficult time with the Academy. Although our cultivation is shallow, please trust that the elders in the Academy allow us to contribute our small share. A young man descended from the sky. The great Tao resonated. In a flash, his aura was formidable, unrivaled in the world. Seeing the young man, unrivaled in the world, the monstrous geniuses of the Sacred World Academy were startled and changed their expressions. Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi. He finally emerged from the Emperor World Academy. Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi, with his 3 saint talent, was peerless. Only fairy maiden Mei Suyao with her immortal bone was his equal. Some said Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi was the number 1 of the younger generation. The moment Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi spoke, countless monstrous geniuses chimed in. That's right. Ji Kong Wudi is absolutely correct. We hail from the Heavenly Tao Academy. As students of the Heavenly Tao Academy, we should unite with the Academy and overcome this difficult time. Many students shouted in unison. We want to live and die together with the Heavenly Tao Academy. Among those cheering, some students didn't know the inside story. They were truly enthusiastic. Others wanted to fish in troubled waters. A monstrous genius of the Sacred World Academy seized the opportunity to make a request. The elders should open the ancestral territory of the Heavenly Tao Academy, allowing us to fight side by side with our senior and junior uncles to overcome this difficult time. The Heavenly Tao Academy did not respond to the requests of the remaining students. They still kept the ancestral territory sealed. Great figures of the Heavenly Tao Academy were still stationed in the 5 major academies, but aside from a small few, other powerhouses of the Heavenly Tao Academy did not show their faces. They seemed busy dealing with the disaster. The Heavenly Tao Academy did not respond to the requests of the students in the 5 major academies. But Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi still did not leave. He vowed to overcome the difficulties with the Heavenly Tao Academy. Regardless of what happens, the Heavenly Tao Academy is facing difficulty. Every disciple in the Academy has a responsibility. All the students remaining in the Heavenly Tao Academy echoed Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi's suggestion. It can be said that at this moment, a call from Divine Person Ji Kong Wudi commanded the allegiance of the world. He was the uncrowned king of the younger generation. Bing Yuxia smiled and commented on the chivalrous students remaining in the Heavenly Tao Academy. A bunch of truly talented actors. Bing Yuxia fanned herself, smiling and saying, Heaven knows what they are thinking in their hearts. Sikong Totian laughed cunningly and said, The Great World Academy students haven't seen much of the world, so they are full of enthusiasm. The Leisure World Academy is hard to say. As for the Sacred World Academy, those monstrous geniuses with great backgrounds all know exactly what's going on. Li Qiye smiled indifferently and said, Whether they genuinely want to overcome the difficulties with the Heavenly Tao Academy or not will soon be revealed. Who is loyal to the Heavenly Tao Academy and who harbors sinister intentions, we will know in a few days. Sikong Totian smiled and said to Li Qiye, Let's ignore that trivial stuff. After the portal opens, let's enter immediately. Just await the young master's order. We are not in a hurry to enter. Li Qiye slowly said. Let's wait and watch the show. Sikong Totian thumped his chest and swore. Whether to enter or not, just say the word, young master. Whatever the order, I will cross fire and water. The little mud eel rolled its eyes. Oh, it's a bit late to suck up now. My young master is not lacking in lackeys. Sikong Toqian didn't care. He smiled faintly, as if he hadn't heard the little mud eel's words. You all continue with your drama. Bing Yuxia closed her fan, looking peerlessly graceful. I have a date to stroll and admire the moon with a young lady. I'll be leaving now. Let me know when you decide to enter. Bing Yuxia was clearly a woman but acted like she was courting a young lady. Sikong Toqian and the others dared not comment. They knew that if she got angry, she was not easy to provoke. Girl, can't you change your style? Li Qiye looked at Bing Yuxia. You're a young lady, cross-dressing as a man all day. Don't you get tired? Put on women's clothes and get married. Bing Yuxia didn't care. She said stylishly. What is it? Are you jealous? Are you jealous that I'm liked by women? Or are you jealous that I have 3,000 beauties? Li Qiye looked at Bing Yuxia leisurely. The young women around you are not bad. Some are quite beautiful. But I have never lacked women. Why would I be jealous of you? Such boastful words. Bing Yuxia looked sideways at Li Qiye. Do you need me to introduce a young lady to you? Perhaps she might charm you. How about the Princess of the Green Lotus sect? She is delicate and elegant, gentle as water. If you meet her, you might fall into her arms and never escape. Bing Yuxia played matchmaker for Li Qiye, urging him to find a woman. Li Qiye looked at Bing Yuxia lazily. Even a 9 heavens celestial maiden would find it hard to captivate me. You don't need to waste your effort. As I see it, you should stay and be my maidservant to run errands. Perhaps I might tell you the secret of the heavenly cut steel. Li Qiye had seen countless women since the ancient ages until now. In the past, the peerless female sword god who followed Li Qiye and illuminated millions of years surpassed all in beauty, gentleness, and talent. Bing Yuxia looked sideways at Li Qiye, proudly saying, Pft, forget it. I will slowly unravel the secret of the heavenly cut steel myself. Whoosh. Bing Yuxia opened her paper fan, turned, and walked away. The little mud eel grumbled. Humph, humph. This young lady is missing a great opportunity. To be a maidservant to the young master since the ancient ages until now. Li Qiye glared. The little mud eel immediately shut its mouth. It almost forgot that Xianxia Wuxia and Sikong Toqian were present. Days passed. The Heavenly Tao Academy not only experienced the splitting of the heaven and earth, but the shaking became increasingly violent. At the same time, the ground of the Heavenly Tao Academy radiated light, becoming increasingly bright. Later, in the evening, one could see streams of immortal light floating in the sky above the Heavenly Tao Academy, extremely majestic. Looking at the miracle, the students remaining in the Heavenly Tao Academy said excitedly. The portal is about to open. They had forgotten about the cracking and collapsing of the Heavenly Tao Academy. Outside the Heavenly Tao Academy, countless eyes were fixed on every change within the Heavenly Tao Academy. In a distant ancestral land of the Eastern 100 cities, profound eyes monitored the Heavenly Tao Academy. In the even more distant Central Great Territory, terrifying eyes watched the Heavenly Tao Academy. Even the unreachable Western barren wasteland had deep eyes staring intently at the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Heavenly Tao Academy facing a great catastrophe was not only known to the old undying figures and ancestors of the great sects in the Eastern 100 cities. Other old undying figures and ancestors from the 5 desolations also awakened from their seals. Some legendary powerhouses who had been sleeping for countless years also woke up. The eyes in the dark watched the Heavenly Tao Academy, like venomous snakes lurking in the darkness watching their prey. In the towns outside the Heavenly Tao Academy, sects and lineages successively gathered into teams. The powerhouses and experts of the sects converged at the closest location to the Heavenly Tao Academy. This time, for most great sects, powerful nations, and emperor lineage immortal gates, they came not only for the opportunity within the portal but also for the Heavenly Tao Academy itself. The Heavenly Tao Academy's foundation and the ancestral vein of the heaven and earth made people drool. In an instant, the storm was coming. Some weak sects in the eastern 100 cities sensed the unusual atmosphere. Each sect had its own calculations. Some planned to fish in troubled waters. Some sealed their mountain gates to stay away from the storm. The Heavenly Tao Academy's eternal portal will open. The Heavenly Tao Academy wishes to share this portal with all sects in the world. All cultivators in the world have a share of the opportunity within the portal. Regardless of origin or background, when the eternal portal opens, the Heavenly Tao Academy is willing to open its mountain gates, welcoming all cultivators in the world to enter the portal together. While countless people were plotting, the Heavenly Tao Academy issued a declaration. Overnight, the news spread throughout the sects and lineages in the eastern 100 cities. The Heavenly Tao Academy's sudden declaration stunned many people. Some great sects, powerful nations, and unfathomably deep emperor lineage immortal gates had long conspired to seize the Heavenly Tao Academy when disaster struck. Some fast-informed great sects caught wind of the rumors. Regardless of the circumstances, everyone was getting ready. Not only did they send their most talented disciples to pledge allegiance to the Heavenly Tao Academy, but some secretly gathered their forces, lurking closest to the Heavenly Tao Academy. Now, the Heavenly Tao Academy suddenly declared that they would share the portal with the world. As if they invited everyone in the world overnight, shattering the secret plans of some old undying figures. As for the sects and lineages that did not know the inside story, they were in an uproar. Upon hearing the news, in an instant, countless sects and cultivators rushed toward the Heavenly Tao Academy overnight. The ancient portal of the Heavenly Tao Academy is about to open. Go quickly. The Heavenly Tao Academy has spoken. Everyone gets a share. In an instant, countless people rushed toward the Heavenly Tao Academy. What is the ancient portal? Some cultivators didn't know what the ancient portal was, feeling confused, but seeing so many people flocking toward the Heavenly Tao Academy, they joined in the excitement. In a flash, the road leading to the Heavenly Tao Academy formed a torrent of people. You don't know about the eternal portal? An old cultivator said, legend says it is a place that connects to the divine realm or an immortal land. Do you know about the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor? Back then, the Vast Sea Immortal Emperor gained a great opportunity within the eternal portal. Later, he became invincible, establishing the Heavenly Emperor sect. The most terrifying miracle since the ancient ages. A sect master said excitedly. I heard that inside the eternal portal are countless ancient medicinal kings, more numerous than weeds. Clump after clump. You can pluck as much as you want. Cultivating inside the eternal portal for 1 hour is better than 100 years outside. Not only that, I heard that legendary immortal weapons are inside. Holding an immortal weapon means sweeping across the 8 directions. In an instant, rumors flew everywhere, becoming increasingly exaggerated. Eventually, the rumor became that entering the eternal portal would instantly make one an immortal emperor. In one night, the heaven and earth shook. The eastern 100 cities was in an uproar. Countless cultivators rushed toward the Heavenly Tao Academy. Some rode divine swords, some arrived on divine ships, some rode fierce birds, and those with shallow cultivation walked. They desperately rushed toward the Heavenly Tao Academy. In one night, all the sects and lineages of the eastern 100 cities poured all their strength toward the Heavenly Tao Academy. Great sects and ancient lineages alike. Even small sects and rogue cultivators, all wanted a piece of the action. Everyone seemed possessed, rushing toward the Heavenly Tao Academy. In this torrent, only a few sects and cultivators remained calm. Occasionally, there were a handful of sects and cultivators who were still sober. They either sealed their mountain gates or went into seclusion, unwilling to be swept into the deluge. An occasional calm sect that sealed its mountain gate said, the eternal portal is opening. Great sects across the world are watching like hungry tigers. How can such a juicy piece of meat be shared with us? I fear we won't get a bite and will instead bring disaster upon ourselves. Rumble, 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 rumble. In one night, celestial cavalry traversed the sky, and 10,000 horses charged. That night, the Tiger Roar sect, Heavenly Music Holy Land, Raging Immortal Holy Nation, and other ancient powerful lineages erected Tao altars and opened Tao gates. teleporting a massive army to the Heavenly Tao Academy. As for the armies that had already gathered in the towns near the Heavenly Tao Academy, they raised their banners and openly appeared outside the Heavenly Tao Academy's mountain gate. In a short time, a sea of people gathered outside the Heavenly Tao Academy. Hundreds of sects and thousands of lineages, countless powerhouses arrived. Marquises and true persons, their blood energy surged like a vast ocean. Ancient saints arrived, gazing down upon the 8 directions. Rumor has it that saint sovereigns and saint emperors also arrived but did not show their faces. The sudden arrival of so many sects made the students inside the Heavenly Tao Academy anxious and uneasy. Some students from humble backgrounds hoped to gain an opportunity in the portal. Now, the whole world sharing the portal meant more enemies and increased danger. Before the portal even appeared, the Eastern 100 Cities was already steeped in blood and gore. Many sects and cultivators clashed on their way to the Heavenly Tao Academy. Some were already annihilated. For now, the largest concentration of people outside the Heavenly Tao Academy belonged to the great sects and powerful nations. After all, the Central Great Territory was too far from the Eastern 100 Cities. By the time they received the news, some time had already passed. The colossal powers that knew the news earlier would not tell others. Li Qiye was leisurely cultivating inside the Heavenly Tao Academy. Xianxia suddenly reported, "My royal father, leading his disciples, has arrived and is outside the mountain gate." Li Qiye frowned and said, "Why is your Lion's Roar school getting involved in this muddy water? Your little bit of strength is not even enough to fill their teeth." Li Qiye was currently sitting on the platform, waiting to catch a big fish. Xianxia shook her head and said, "I don't know either. I just received the news." Xianxia was very worried. Everyone clearly saw that chaos was about to begin. A slight misstep could invite utter disaster. Being by Li Qiye's side, Xianxia was not blinded by talk of divine artifacts or immortal rarities. Li Qiye shook his head and said, "Let me meet your father." Li Qiye didn't want to interfere in others' affairs, but he didn't want the Qi family to be annihilated. Out of consideration for the 100 Battles Divine Emperor, Li Qiye reluctantly stepped forward. Xianxia immediately made arrangements for Li Qiye. In her heart, she also did not want her royal father to lead the Lion's Roar school into this muddy water. The Lion's Roar school could not compare with those colossal powers. The Lion's Roar school's arrival was virtually a full-scale deployment. The elders and grand elders of the Lion's Roar school came personally. They set up camp in a mountain valley 500 miles from the Heavenly Tao Academy's mountain gate. Xianxia quickly arranged for Li Qiye to meet the Lion's Roar country's ruler, who was also Xiaodia's father. Upon seeing Li Qiye, the Lion's Roar ruler did not dare to act arrogantly. He quickly bowed toward Li Qiye. "Thank you, young Master Li, for taking care of my daughter during this time." Since Xiaodia started following Li Qiye, the Lion's Roar ruler, as her father, was worried his daughter would suffer. Now, meeting Xiaodia and seeing her demeanor, the Lion's Roar ruler felt much more at ease. Xiaodia had told her father a few things. Of course, the matters that couldn't be spoken of were not mentioned a single word. Xiaodia didn't want to displease the heavenly cut 9 world's existence. Xiaodia secretly reminded her father that Li Qiye was more trustworthy than anyone else. Therefore, upon meeting Li Qiye, the Lion's Roar ruler was extremely humble. Li Qiye sat down and spoke directly. "May I ask why the ruler has come here? Is it for the Heavenly Tao Academy's portal? If so, I advise the ruler to turn back. The ruler cannot imagine how much danger this place holds. This is not an opportunity but a great calamity. It's hard to say whether one will survive and leave in the end." The Lion's Roar ruler was startled. He regained his composure, shook his head, and said, "Young Master Li misunderstands. Our Lion's Roar country deploying all its strength here is not for the portal's opportunity but to assist the Heavenly Tao Academy." Li Qiye was surprised. "Assist the Heavenly Tao Academy?" The Lion's Roar ruler smiled bitterly and said, "This is my father's intention. The Heavenly Tao Academy has helped our Lion's Roar school greatly. When my father entered the Heavenly Tao Academy to search for the ancestors' traces, he received a favor from the Heavenly Tao Academy. Now that the Heavenly Tao Academy is in difficulty, my father wants us to contribute a small effort to help the Heavenly Tao Academy. Has the Lion's Roar Saint Emperor emerged from seclusion? Li Qiye asked in surprise. If so, I should go and meet him. The Lion's Roar ruler quickly replied. My father just emerged from seclusion a few days ago. He is currently in the ancient pavilion. If young Master Li wishes to see my father, you must wait a while. My father said he is adjusting his physical state. Your father hasn't obtained the complete physique art. Li Qiye immediately understood upon hearing the Lion's Roar ruler's words. The Lion's Roar Saint Emperor was the descendant of the Overlord Immortal Teacher King. It was a pity that the immortal physique art had been lost. The Lion's Roar Saint Emperor once returned to the Heavenly Tao Academy to search for the ancestors' traces and certainly gained something. The Lion's Roar ruler gave an awkward smile and said, only my father knows about this. When my father emerges from seclusion, young Master Li, please speak with him. The Lion's Roar ruler also came but remained in the successor ancient pavilion, not meeting outsiders. No disciple of the Lion's Roar school, except for the elder level, knew that their old ancestor had emerged from seclusion. Li Qiye nodded and said, however, regarding assisting the Heavenly Tao Academy, I advise against it. You should just observe from the sidelines. If the situation becomes unfavorable, return quickly. Li Qiye didn't want the Lion's Roar school to ruin his big plan. Li Qiye was waiting to catch a big fish. The Lion's Roar ruler listened to Li Qiye and asked thoughtfully, does young Master Li mean? Li Qiye shook his head and said, the ruler cannot imagine the foundation of the Heavenly Tao Academy. One of the Heavenly Tao Academy's ancestors is extraordinary. The Heavenly Tao Academy is unfathomably deep. To the Heavenly Tao Academy, the ancestors of great sects and sealed old undying figures are nothing. Even the legendary powerhouses are not worth the Heavenly Tao Academy's concern. Facing an immortal existence, the Heavenly Tao Academy is more than capable of resisting. To put it harshly, even if the Lion's Roar country exerts all its strength, it is like a drop in the ocean in this great calamity. Being swept into this great calamity will be a disaster for the Lion's Roar School. I believe the Heavenly Tao Academy will surely remember the Lion's Roar School's righteousness. Li Qiye did not want the Lion's Roar School to ruin his plan and the Heavenly Tao Academy's plan. When the trouble started, he would not have the time to save the Lion's Roar School. The Lion's Roar ruler pondered this. The Lion's Roar ruler said, I will convey young Master Li's words to my father. My father is a wise person and will reach a conclusion. Although Li Qiye's words were harsh, they were the truth. How strong was the Heavenly Tao Academy after all? No one knew until now. A Lion's Roar school disciple hurriedly ran in to report. Reporting to your majesty, the elders of the raging immortal holy nation, leading disciple Sima Longyun, have arrived to visit. The Lion's Roar ruler's heart sank upon hearing the news. He asked, what is the matter? The disciple hesitated, looking at Qi Xiaodiye, then at Li Qiye, unable to speak. The Lion's Roar ruler commanded, speak directly. Do not be afraid. The disciple stammered. They are here to propose marriage. The elders brought a generous and complete selection of gifts. The Lion's Roar ruler's heart sank. This day had finally arrived, the day he least wanted. If the juniors were in love, it would be fine. Marriage alliance with the raging immortal holy nation could be said to be the Lion's Roar school climbing the social ladder. But as a father, the Lion's Roar ruler knew his daughter did not want this marriage. The Lion's Roar ruler did not want to force his daughter, but he also knew this matter was not simple. Li Qiye sat in the host's chair, smiling faintly. Let them in. Li Qiye slowly said. The raging immortal holy nation is truly enthusiastic. Coming at this time, is it for the beauty or the supreme art? Qi Xiaodia remained silent, not saying a word. The lion's roar ruler sighed inwardly and commanded. Please invite the elders and young Master Sima in. Very quickly, Sima Longyun's group was invited in. They carried precious betrothal gift boxes. Sima Longyun came with his masters. His masters were an ancient saint, and furthermore, a great saint, with profound and long-lasting blood energy and a long lifespan, a formidable figure. If saint sovereigns and saint emperors did not emerge, these elders could stand at the pinnacle of the world stage in this era. The precious betrothal gift boxes were brought in. The treasure boxes were opened. Treasures soared to the sky, and divine light flashed continuously. The precious gifts were shocking: divine iron, treasured gold, saint stones, ancient bronze, spiritual medicine, and elixirs. It can be said that everything that should be there was present. Sima Longyun entered. His face darkened upon seeing Li Qiye present. He coldly snorted. The elders, Sima Longyun's masters, held a very high position in the raging immortal holy nation. One of them spoke. Brother Qi, your esteemed daughter and my disciple have known each other since childhood. As the saying goes, when a boy grows up, he takes a wife. When a girl grows up, she is given in marriage. Both children have reached the age of marriage. My disciple is deeply devoted to Miss Qi today. We shamelessly come to propose marriage. The lion's roar ruler had a headache. The raging immortal holy nation wanting to marry his daughter was not simple. Rumors had always circulated that the raging immortal holy nation's immortal physique art was incomplete, and they were always seeking ways to complete it. The Lion's Roar School was one of the targets of the raging immortal holy nation. The Lion's Roar ruler said helplessly, my daughter's lifelong matter should be handled by her. We must consider my daughter's wishes. The elders quickly said, Brother Qi is wrong. When a boy grows up, he takes a wife. When a girl grows up, she is given in marriage. If the parents agree, how dare the children disobey? The two children have known each other since childhood and are deeply in love. This matter only needs Brother Qi to give the word. Our Saint Emperor has already spoken. If the marriage is settled, the Saint Emperor and the ancestors will personally preside over the wedding. This is an extreme honor. Not only for the two children, but this is also a rare good fortune for the Lion's Roar School. Sima Longyun stepped forward, cupped his hands toward the Lion's Roar ruler. Uncle, your nephew and little Dai have always been deeply in love. I hope Uncle will. Sima Longyun's words angered Qi Xiaodia, making her body tremble and her face flush red. She glared, intending to rush out, but Li Qiye stopped her. Li Qiye slowly said, before talking nonsense, you should go pee and look in the mirror. You dare say that with that face? Sima Longyun's face flushed red with anger. His master's eyes turned cold, and killing intent surged. The elders asked coldly, who are you? Li Qiye didn't even look at the elders. He slowly said, who I am is not important, but I will tell you this, your raging immortal holy nation has no chance of an alliance. Regardless of whether your raging immortal holy nation came for little Dai or the immortal physique art, or if you have other intentions, leave now while it's still early. An ignorant junior. The elders coldly snorted. Since when is the great matter of the Lion's Roar country decided by a milky-mouthed brat like you? Li Qiye was too lazy to look at the elders. The Lion's Roar country's affairs do not need me to decide, but the person by my side is my concern. Now, the girl Qi is under my protection. She is my person. Your raging immortal holy nation should stay out of it. Qi Xiaodia was furious at Sima Longyun's blatant lies. Hearing Li Qiye's words, she was stunned. Her face flushed red, and her heart pounded like a skipping fawn. Qi Xiaodia's anger instantly vanished. Her heart softened. To Qi Xiaodia, that single sentence was worth everything. Thank you for listening to the story on KTN Storyverse. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Chapter Qi Xiaodia's face was flushed red. She lowered her head, nervously twisting the corner of her robe. She couldn't hear anything clearly besides that one sentence. Li Qiye's words made Sima Longyun and the elders' expressions extremely ugly. The elders' faces darkened. They said coldly, "Brother Qi, will you let a milky-mouthed junior talk nonsense about your esteemed daughter's affairs? This concerns your esteemed daughter's reputation." The Lion's Roar ruler had a headache. He shook his head and said, "I won't hide it from the elders. This matter is not something I, as a father, can decide. It is up to my daughter to decide." The Lion's Roar ruler looked at Qi Xiaodian and asked, "Dire, whether you agree or not, speak your mind." Sima Longyun's group all looked toward Qi Xiaodian. She, immersed in happiness, suddenly regained her composure. Qi Xiaodian took a deep breath, staring intently at Li Qiye, who was calmly seated in the chair. Qi Xiaodian raised her head and said in a deep voice, "I will not marry. I respectfully decline the kind intentions of the raging immortal holy nation." Qi Xiaodian's refusal made Sima Longyun's expression incredibly grim. Sima Longyun held himself in very high regard. He hailed from the raging immortal holy nation and was a talented cultivator, achieving great success in the Marquis realm. Wherever Sima Longyun went, he was surrounded by admirers. But today, he came to propose marriage and was rejected. Sima Longyun could not swallow this anger. "Is this little brat worthy of you?" Sima Longyun jumped out and said loudly, "Don't be foolish and be deceived by this little beast. Little Dai, you and I are a match made in heaven, a perfect pair. Marrying into the raging immortal holy nation is a glorious prospect, a well-matched union." Qi Xiaodian's expression became ugly. She shouted, "Enough. I ask you all to leave." Sima Longyun trembled with anger. Having his love stolen made him snap. Sima Longyun rushed out, pointing at Li Qiye, and said, "Little beast, get out here. Today, let's see who is truly worthy of Little Dai. Today, you and I will fight a life-and-death duel. The survivor has the right to marry Little Dai." Qi Xiaodian was enraged. Why should he fight? "I'll fight you." Qi Xiaodian stepped forward and said, coldly, "Let me duel you." Sima Longyun was so angry he almost coughed up blood. He pointed at Li Qiye and roared, "Little beast, what good is it to hide behind a woman?" Qi Xiaodian intended to step forward, but Li Qiye stopped her. Li Qiye slowly stood up. "Come out yourself, or wait for me to punch you out." Roar. The sound of an ox bellowed. Golden light radiated brightly from Sima Longyun's body, as if a divine ox had entered his body. His blood energy surged wildly like a burst dam. Sima Longyun roared loudly, "Little beast, take a punch from me." Sima Longyun revealed his golden ox physique and punched out, a strike capable of moving mountains and filling the seas. A continuous rumbling sound filled the air. Scram! Li Qiye's pupils constricted. His strength was immense. His blood energy suppressed the prison. He swung his hand, shattering the sky, and struck Sima Longyun. Smash! The hell-suppressing divine physique collided with the golden ox physique. The outcome was predictable. One was an immortal physique, the other was an innate physique. The difference was vast. Sima Longyun was sent flying by Li Qiye's punch, crashing through the wall. Sima Longyun flew far away. The elders saw their disciple struck and sent flying. Their expressions changed. They shouted loudly, "Junior!" Li Qiye was too lazy to look at the elders. He said calmly, "Today, I show respect to the Lion's Roar ruler and consider you guests who came to the door, so I will not kill anyone. If he dares to provoke me again next time, I will smash him to pieces." Li Qiye finished speaking, turned, and left. Qi Xiaodian silently followed Li Qiye. The Lion's Roar ruler sighed and said to the elders, "Elders, young people have their own world. This matter is not something I can decide. I, Qi, am grateful for the elders and the raging immortal holy nation's affection. I ask the elders to return." The elders' expressions were extremely Ugly. They finally stomped their feet and returned with their betrothal gifts and the injured Sima Longyun. The elders thought that with Sima Longyun personally coming to propose marriage, backed by the raging immortal holy nation Saint Emperor and supported by the elders, the Lion's Roar School would find it difficult to refuse. But unexpectedly, the Lion's Roar School refused the proposal and they were humiliated by Li Qiye. The elders trembled with rage. The raging immortal holy nation was determined to avenge this humiliation. Li Qiye did not return to the heavenly Tao Academy immediately. Qi Xiaodao also arrived. He heard that Li Qiye was visiting and hurriedly came to meet him. Li Qiye looked at Qi Xiaodao's delighted and smug appearance and smiled. It seems you have embraced the beauty. Qi Xiaodao was a bright and articulate person, but he was somewhat lonely before. Now, he was completely different. He was cheerful and radiant. His face was rosy, clearly showing he was in passionate love. Being teased by Li Qiye made Qi Xiaodao laugh awkwardly. I won't hide it from Brother Li. I also want to take the beauty home. But the Treasured Cloud clan is very difficult to deal with. The Tiger Roar sect is currently pressuring them tightly. Little Yun doesn't want it, but the Treasured Cloud clan is very happy to form an alliance with the Tiger Roar sect. Qi Xiaodao did not hide anything from Li Qiye. His successful pursuit of Princess Baoyun was also thanks to Li Qiye's support. Li Qiye said calmly, "What is difficult? As long as you love her, bring her back. If the Treasured Cloud clan doesn't agree, then steal her. Directly carry her back." Qi Xiaodao gave a wry smile. He couldn't be as overbearing as Li Qiye. Qi Xiaodao laughed awkwardly. I want to, but I hope to follow the rules. If the Treasured Cloud clan acknowledges it, and Little Yun happily marries me, it would be better. Everyone would be happy. Li Qiye smiled and said, If your grandfather has emerged from seclusion, let him propose marriage on your behalf. As long as Princess Baoyun agrees to be with you, everything is easy. If the Treasured Cloud clan feels your Lion's Roar school doesn't have enough weight, it doesn't matter. One day, I will bring some major figures to give you face. Crush the Tiger Roar sect, and make the Treasured Cloud clan happily marry their princess to you. Li Qiye was quite fond of Qi Xiaodao and strongly supported his marriage. As long as Princess Baoyun agreed to marry Qi Xiaodao, everything would be easy to resolve. Qi Xiaodao quickly bowed. Thank you, Brother Li. Qi Xiaodao smiled and said, I will definitely go and propose marriage. Regardless of how the Treasured Cloud clan makes things difficult, I will try until the Treasured Cloud clan is satisfied. That way, Little Yun will also be happy, and with the Treasured Cloud clan support, she will marry me without regrets. Li Qiye smiled and said, A very good way of thinking. Li Qiye showed concern. After you bring the beauty back, cultivate diligently. You have successfully changed your fate. Don't waste your talent. Qi Xiaodao said gratefully. Brother Li, rest assured. I will absolutely not disappoint you. Since meeting Li Qiye, Qi Xiaodao had received much help from him, even having his destiny changed. This was a great favor to him. Li Qiye instructed Qi Xiaodao. I will stay here for a few days, waiting for your grandfather to emerge. If you have any incomprehensible points during cultivation, come and ask me. Li Qiye turned and left. Li Qiye left. Qi Xiaodao did not follow him immediately. She wanted to talk to her little brother. Qi Xiaodao winked at his sister and asked with a grin. Sister, how are things progressing between you two? Qi Xiaodao said irritably. Progressing what? Don't talk nonsense. It wouldn't be good to damage his reputation. Qi Xiaodao laughed and said. Oh, the saying goes that a daughter married away always favors outsiders. It's too true. You haven't married yet and are already speaking up for Brother Li. What will happen if you get married? Hee hee, sister, you don't look like your old self at all. Before, you were a very proud person. Don't talk nonsense. Qi Xiaodao, both embarrassed and angry, glared at Qi Xiaodao. How could that be? Qi Xiaodao didn't mind. He smiled faintly and said, "Sister, I support you. I'm sure you can do it. Your little brother is waiting to drink your wedding wine." Qi Xiaodao teased her. Qi Xiaodia only remained silent, sighing softly in her heart. Qi Xiaodao pressed her. "Sister. What's wrong? If you have something on your mind, tell me. Maybe I can help ease your sorrow." Qi Xiaodia shook her head and said, "It's nothing." Qi Xiaodia's heart was heavy. Qi Xiaodao asked with concern, "Is it because of Brother Li?" The siblings had a very good relationship. They grew up together. Qi Xiaodao, as a little brother, naturally hoped his sister would find a happy harbor. Qi Xiaodia remained silent. Qi Xiaodao asked anxiously, "Could it be that Brother Li doesn't like you?" After a long while, Qi Xiaodia sighed. "How would I know?" Qi Xiaodia said softly. Even the young palace master of the Ice Feather Palace was only accepted by him as a maidservant. When Li Qiye said that to Bing Yuxia, she knew he wasn't joking. He was serious. Bing Yuxia was peerless, with flawless beauty, talent, and background. If one had to find a fault, it was only her preference for wearing men's clothes. Li Qiye only accepted Bing Yuxia as a maidservant. Qi Xiaodao was also silent. He had heard Li Qiye say that before. If it were anyone else, they would be considered mad, arrogant, or ignorant, but Qi Xiaodao knew Li Qiye was not joking, nor was he being arrogant. It could be said that to Li Qiye, a peerless, stunning genius like Bing Yuxia was dispensable. Even a peerless genius like Bing Yuxia couldn't catch Li Qiye's eye. What about his sister? Her background, beauty, and talent couldn't compare to Bing Yuxia's. Qi Xiaodao asked, "Do you have any plans?" Qi Xiaodia looked into the distance and took a deep breath. Qi Xiaodia said softly, "I want to stay by his side." Qi Xiaodia's face was burning hot. She secretly clenched her fists, encouraging herself. To Qi Xiaodia, status was not important. As long as she could be by Li Qiye's side, she would be very content. Qi Xiaodao sighed inwardly. He knew his sister had fallen deep. Before, his sister was arrogant, thinking Li Qiye was a fraud. In the end, Qi Xiaodia couldn't resist the charm of Li Qiye, who was carefree across the world, looked down upon the 8 directions, and was mysteriously unfathomable. She had become infatuated. If others heard this conversation, they would find it hard to believe. Although Qi Xiaodia was not the most peerless genius, she was the golden branch and jade leaf of the Lion's Roar country, stunningly beautiful. Countless talented young men wanted to marry Qi Xiaodia, but now she only wanted to follow one young man. Qi Xiaodao encouraged his sister. "Sister, I believe you can do it." Qi Xiaodia smiled sweetly and said, "You should also bring Princess Baoyun back soon and cultivate peacefully afterward. I hope that in this generation, we can reclaim the glory of our ancestors, not shaming our ancestors' prestige." The more Qi Xiaodia learned about her ancestors, the prouder she became. Her ancestor, the 100 Battles Divine Emperor, and her maternal ancestor, the Overlord Immortal Teacher King, were both influential figures in the world. Qi Xiaodia, as a descendant of the Qi family, hoped to reclaim the glory of her ancestors and expand their lineage one day. Qi Xiaodao encouraged himself. "Sister, I will try my best." Li Qiye stayed. The Lion's Roar Saint Emperor had not emerged yet, but Yui arrived. Yui came specifically to the Lion's Roar School's camp. He came in secret, outsiders did not know. Rumor had it that Yui had already withdrawn from the Heavenly Tao Academy with the disciples. Yui arrived secretly, bringing a piece of news for Li Qiye. "Brother Li, the ancestor asked me to convey that everything is ready." The ancestor received reliable information. The opponent has 7 Immortal Emperor treasures and 2 Immortal Emperor true weapons coming here. Specifically, which great sect ancestors are making a move is still a secret for now. Li Qiye narrowed his eyes and said, 7 Immortal Emperor treasures and 2 Immortal Emperor true weapons. A huge investment indeed. At least 2 Emperor lineage immortal Gates must be making such a large investment. To produce 7 immortal emperor treasures and 2 immortal emperor true weapons in one go, there are very few emperor lineage immortal gates in the world capable of doing so. This time, the enemy had a ready plan, advancing with the intention of absolute victory. They wanted to seize the Heavenly Tao Academy in one fell swoop. Otherwise, they wouldn't have invited so many immortal emperor treasures and immortal emperor true weapons. Anyone who knew this secret would be terrified and wet their pants. 7 immortal emperor treasures and 2 immortal emperor true weapons could sink the eastern 100 cities. It would become a terrifying battle like the one between King He Long and the sky-stepping immortal emperor. Yue secretly departed. Li Qiye summoned the little mud eel. Li Qiye looked at the starry night and slowly said, "The great slaughter begins." The little mud eel was excited. Ha ha ha. The little mud eel rubbed its hands and said, "I haven't engaged in a great slaughter for a long time. Ha ha ha. This time, I'll kill until I'm satisfied. You stand guard for me." Li Qiye commanded. "Act when it's time to strike," the little mud eel said excitedly. Understood. The little mud eel was more excited than anyone. It had suppressed its urge to act for many years. At this moment, it wished it could start warming up immediately. Outside the Heavenly Tao Academy, sects from all over the world, countless powerhouses and experts had gathered. The place was bustling with marquises. True persons and ancient saints were concentrated here. Legendary saint sovereigns and saint emperors came personally but did not show their faces. At this moment, rumors circulated that the ancestors of great sects and old undying figures of powerful nations were present. Rumors said that the raging immortal holy nation and the Tiger Roar sect both had old undying figures and ancestors who came personally. However, the raging immortal holy nation and the Tiger Roar sect denied the rumors. Within 2 days, the Heavenly Tao Academy became extremely lively. People were as numerous as weaving thread. At the same time, the immortal light beneath the Heavenly Tao Academy's ground continued to surge. The heaven and earth continued to split, becoming increasingly violent. The Emperor Foundation beneath the Heavenly Tao Academy's ground was incredibly powerful. Colossal, thick divine chains of law locked the land, yet the ground still trembled. The mountains and rivers of the Heavenly Tao Academy, spanning millions of miles, cracked. The fissures became increasingly large. Everyone could see that if this continued, the Heavenly Tao Academy was about to collapse. Watching the Heavenly Tao Academy situation worsen, bright eyes in the dark secretly monitored. A cold voice rang out, "Tropical drink rest after a thrilling chapter. The Heavenly Tao Academy will soon become history." When countless sects and lineages in the eastern 100 cities gathered outside the Heavenly Tao Academy's mountain gate. 3 days later, the Heavenly Tao Academy suddenly opened its mountain gate. The Great World Academy had personally presided over the announcement to the outside world that any sect or individual who came for the eternal portal could enter. The Heavenly Tao Academy was the host, but they would not preside over the distribution of resources and treasures within the eternal portal. Before the eternal portal opened, the various sects in the world would first discuss the order of entry into the portal and the rules of distribution. Any sect or cultivator had the right to discuss. Within 1 day, the Heavenly Tao Academy opened its mountain gate, allowing all sects in the world to enter. Of course, the massive armies of the great sects were blocked outside the Heavenly Tao Academy's mountain gate. Great sects and ancient lineages were only allowed into the Heavenly Tao Academy after discussing the order of entry into the eternal portal. The Heavenly Tao Academy's action favored rogue cultivators. The great sects did not object. No one knew who the ultimate winner would be. 4 great sects, powerful nations, and emperor lineage immortal gates. They had absolute advantage in determining the order and regulations. On this day, countless elite powerhouses of great sects, powerful nations, and rogue cultivators from all over the world entered the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Heavenly Tao Academy allowed the large number of people to camp in the flat mountain valleys within the Heavenly Tao Academy. In an instant, sects were everywhere, and alliances emerged. Small sects grouped together to form temporary alliances. Some small sects attached themselves to great sects and powerful nations. The Tiger Roar sect, Heavenly Music Holy Land, Raging Immortal Holy Nation, Luminary Ancient Kingdom, and so on. The great sects, powerful nations, and emperor lineage immortal gates of the Eastern 100 Cities held a huge advantage. After all, the great sects and powerful nations of the Eastern 100 Cities were closest to the Heavenly Tao Academy. Other great sects and powerful nations in the world, even if they received the news, could not instantly mobilize massive armies to gather like the great sects of the Eastern 100 Cities. When the various sects in the world set up camp in the mountains, the Heavenly Tao Academy took the lead in discussing the order and regulations of entry into the Eternal Portal, preventing a chaotic slaughter before the portal even opened. In principle, everyone was allowed to voice their opinions, but in reality, the majority of the power lay in the hands of colossal powers like the Raging Immortal Holy Nation and the Luminary Ancient Kingdom. They had the absolute advantage. The Lion's Roar School also entered, but with very few people. Only a handful of people, including the Lion's Roar ruler, followed Li Qiye. The great gathering of 100 races and 10,000 sects had just begun when someone stepped forward, targeting the Lion's Roar School. In principle, everyone can share the Eternal Portal, but some people may not have the qualifications. For example, the Lion's Roar School should reconsider. This person was the successor of the Tiger Roar sect, Hu. Many sects gathered here, but the powerhouses of colossal powers like the Tiger Roar sect and the Raging Immortal Holy Nation were hidden behind the scenes. The discussions were led by the young generation. Hu of the Tiger Roar sect suddenly stepped forward to provoke the Lion's Roar School, making the Lion's Roar ruler's face change. Right at the opening, the Tiger Roar sect was attacking the Lion's Roar School. It was truly overbearing. Many people looked toward the Lion's Roar School. The great sects in the meeting would not step forward to defend the Lion's Roar School. All the great sects stood by, watching. Small sects, rogue cultivators, and others wouldn't want the great sects to share the juicy meat of the Eternal Portal with others. Some small sects were inclined to speak up for the Lion's Roar School but wisely kept silent, fearing they would also be targeted and deemed unqualified to enter the Eternal Portal. The Lion's Roar School had no intention of competing for the opportunity in the Eternal Portal. But now, in front of the world, the Tiger Roar sect was provoking the Lion's Roar School. The Lion's Roar ruler could no longer endure it. Being provoked in front of the world, if the Lion's Roar School remained silent, how could they stand in the Eastern 100 Cities in the future? What does the Tiger Roar sect mean? The Lion's Roar ruler asked angrily. Hu's tiger eyes were fierce and majestic. When he stood up, his aura suppressed people, like a fierce beast descending from the mountain. The fierce beast aura swept across the entire hall. Hu was young, but he possessed a terrifying aura. Even the previous generation feared him. Hu's current strength qualified him to stand here. Hu said coldly. No meaning. It's just that the recent actions of the Lion's Roar School are contemptible. Your Lion's Roar School has been sowing discord among the various sects, causing them to fight and slaughter each other in the Eastern 100 Cities. It can be said that you are sinister and malicious. Hu's string of accusations made the Lion's Roar School disciples stare at each other, trembling with rage. Hu was pushing the Lion's Roar School into being enemies with the various sects. The Lion's Roar ruler shouted angrily. Virtuous nephew Hu, you can eat wrongly, but you cannot speak wrongly. My Lion's Roar School has always avoided contention with the world and lived peacefully with the various sections. Where did this sowing of discord come from? Hu said coldly. Whether it is true or not, your Lion's Roar School knows. Clearly. Powerhouses from many sects were present. People who didn't know the inside story were secretly puzzled. Why was the Tiger Roar sect suddenly targeting the Lion's Roar School? The two sides were not on the same level. It could be said that the Lion's Roar School posed no threat to the Tiger Roar sect. Those who knew the inside story vaguely guessed. Everyone knew Hu wanted to marry the princess of the Treasured Cloud clan. The Treasured Cloud clan was also happy to form an alliance with the Tiger Roar sect. The only person who was not keen on this marriage was Princess Baoyun. Therefore, the alliance had been delayed for a long time. Recently, the Lion's Roar School's successor, Qi Xiaodao, had become quite close to Princess Baoyun, showing signs of mutual affection. Hu Yu was making indirect accusations, attacking the Lion's Roar School. Li Qiye, sitting next to the Lion's Roar School, spoke. What is sowing discord? What is sowing discord among the various sects? It's all nonsense. Li Qiye was worried no one would step forward to challenge him. Now that someone was seeking death, he was happy to oblige. Li Qiye smiled and said, the so-called sowing of discord is simply that the young master of the Lion's Roar School wants to marry the princess of the treasured Cloud clan. The man is unmarried, and the woman is unwed. Does it mean only your Tiger Roar sect is allowed to propose marriage, and the Lion's Roar School is not? The Tiger Roar sect is dividing the relationships among the sects, using public means for private ends, seizing the opportunity to attack the Lion's Roar School. Li Qiye acted, and conveniently supported Qi Xiaodao, making his marriage proposal to the treasured Cloud clan public. Hu Yu's tiger eyes glared. Killing intent flared up. Nonsense. How dare a milky-mouthed brat like you speak nonsense? Many eyes looked toward Li Qiye. Some knew him, some did not. Those who didn't know Li Qiye were secretly puzzled. Who was this brat who dared to challenge a young genius like Hu Yu? Those who knew Li Qiye knew that this fierce name was about to strike again. Li Qiye smiled and said, as you said, whether it is true or not, you know in your heart. A steady voice rang out. Today, all the sects and noble figures have gathered here to discuss a great matter of the world, not a place to settle personal grievances. The person who spoke was luminary great talent Zhu Huangwu of the luminary ancient kingdom. Today, his presence represented the luminary ancient kingdom. Zhu Huangwu glared coldly at Li Qiye and said calmly, the great affair here is not a place for an unknown brat to speak presumptuously. His qualification to enter the eternal portal should be revoked. An overbearing voice rang out. I agree with Brother Huangwu's words. Another young man stood up, tall and robust, like a golden mountain or a jade pillar. His overbearing aura soared to the sky, terrifying and imposing, inspiring awe. This young man was the great Prince Ba Xia of the raging immortal holy nation. Zhu Huangwu was the great talent of the luminary ancient kingdom. Ba Xia was the great prince of the raging immortal holy nation. Behind them were colossal inherited lineages, powerful forces that dominated the eastern 100 cities. Zhu Huangwu and Ba Xia speaking in unison, standing on the same front, made everyone gasp. Young cultivators and the older generation alike had their hearts skip a beat. The successors of two great lineages speaking in unison represented the stance of the two great sects. Zhu Huangwu, the great talent of the luminary ancient kingdom, cultivated the emperor arts of two immortal emperors, making everyone revere him. Ba Xia, the great prince of the raging immortal holy nation, was naturally born with the overlord physique, one of the 24 imperial physiques. Ba Xia cultivated the overlord immortal physique art, the raging immortal holy nation's national defense art, and held high expectations from many. Some said that Ba Xia might achieve great completion of the immortal physique in the future, becoming the second person to achieve great completion of the immortal physique after the raging immortal holy nation's founder. Therefore, Ba Xia's name was changed since childhood. He was not named Ba Xia at birth, but the later name, Ba Xia, spoke for itself. He wanted to become the second overlord of the raging immortal holy nation. Now, the two young generational geniuses jointly pressured Li Qiye, making everyone look toward him. Many people knew, especially the Heavenly Tao Academy students, that Li Qiye killed Ghost Talisman Tree, essentially incurring a great life and death feud with the luminary ancient kingdom. Ba Xia said overbearingly. The eternal portal is the supreme legacy left by the ancient sages. What qualifications does an unknown junior have to enter? At this time, it is enough for the great sects and powerful nations to share it. Those who have nothing to do should all leave. Ba Xia's words offended many small sects and rogue cultivators present, but he did not care. The raging immortal holy nation was a powerful inherited lineage and did not concern itself with small sects or rogue cultivators. As long as the raging immortal holy nation and the ancient inherited lineage of the luminary ancient kingdom cooperated, the small sects would be unable to challenge them. Another voice rang out from afar. I agree. Another young man, shrouded in blue smoke, stood up, tall and mysterious. Blue smoke lingered around him, and his eyes shone brightly like the starry sky. Seeing this young man, some Heavenly Tao Academy students secretly cried out. Azure Profound Heavenly Son of the Sacred World Academy. The people of the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom have also arrived. Many powerhouses of the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom sat behind the Azure Profound Heavenly Son, each with astonishing blood energy. The Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom had pledged allegiance to the Heavenly Tao Academy long ago. It was no surprise that the powerhouses of the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom appeared here today. Li Qiye glanced at the Azure Profound Heavenly Son and chuckled. Li Qiye said calmly. It turns out to be a loser. What's the matter? Did you still not learn your lesson after barely escaping with your life at the Demon Back Ridge that year? Today, you dare to rush to my face and act smug. It seems this grandpa didn't completely annihilate your Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom, so you mistake me for being merciful. Li Qiye was not at all polite. To the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom. 30,000 years ago, the Sacred Heaven sect intended to annihilate them. The Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom was behind it. Li Qiye's words made many older generation cultivators and Heavenly Tao Academy students gasp. Ba Xia's eyes bulged, his overbearing aura soared to the sky. Such arrogance! Ba Xia shouted aggressively. How dare a brat! Like you speak so presumptuously. Ba Xia would not let Li Qiye off. His junior disciple, Sima Longyun, originally intended to marry Qi Xiaodia, but Li Qiye disrupted the plan, ruining a good marriage alliance. It would be a miracle if Ba Xia forgave Li Qiye, whose eyes flashed with a cold light. If some people consider themselves extraordinary, then before entering the eternal portal, we should clean up some irrelevant figures. Blue smoke shrouded the Azure Profound Heavenly Son. He nodded and said, it is indeed necessary to clear out those who are unrelated. Especially some ignorant fools. Does Brother Huangwu agree? The Azure Profound Heavenly Son's eyes were sharp, staring intently at Li Qiye. Zhu Huangwu nodded and said, rogue cultivators and small sects should disperse. Behind the eternal portal hides untold danger. Once entered, they might face utter disaster. It's better not to take the risk. In an instant, the strongest lineages in the meeting, such as the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom, the Luminary Ancient Kingdom, the Raging Immortal Holy Nation, and the Tiger Roar sect, stood on the same front. Perhaps they had already discussed this beforehand. Li Qiye was merely a fuse today. Some rogue cultivators and students from humble backgrounds in the Heavenly Tao Academy couldn't swallow their anger and spoke up in rebuttal. That's outrageous. The eternal portal doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Heavenly Tao Academy has agreed to share it with the world. By what right do you prevent others from entering? Many small sects echoed. That's right. The eternal portal doesn't belong to you. If they didn't fight for it now, they wouldn't have another chance. In a flash, small sects, rogue cultivators, and even students from humble backgrounds in the Heavenly Tao Academy understood that the Lion's Roar School and Li Qiye were just a pretext. Perhaps the great sects and powerful nations had already discussed and reached an agreement. The so-called discussion of great affairs was merely a means to drive others away and exclude the small sects. The immortal rarities and divine treasures of the Heavenly Tao Academy should naturally be shared by everyone. Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu slowly said, the sages of the great sects are thinking for the world, caring for the well-being of the people in the world. To prevent cultivators from tragically dying in the dangers behind the portal, the great sects will join forces to retrieve the immortal rarities and divine treasures from the portal. After retrieval, they will be distributed and shared with the people in the world. Everyone will have a share. No one believed Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu's words. It would be harder than ascending to heaven for the wolves and tigers to spit out the fat meat they had swallowed. Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu's words were merely painting a picture for everyone. Li Qiye laughed loudly and said, "Nonsense. Utter rubbish. It makes me want to vomit. If you want to be a prostitute, don't pretend to be pure." This phrase is perfectly suited for things like the luminary ancient kingdom. What sages thinking for the world, caring for the well-being of the people in the world? A bunch of old undying figures lying underground all year long dare to call themselves sages of the world. Li Qiye's words made Sima Longyun, Hu Yu, and the elders' faces contort with extreme ugliness. Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu showed clear intent to kill Li Qiye on the spot. It was both a warning and a revenge for Ghost Talisman Tree. Li Qiye glanced at Zhu Huangwu. "Sages of the world," Li Qiye said contemptuously. "What are the sages of the world in your mouth? Tell them to get out here so this grandpa can see what kind of face those old undying figures have to call themselves sages of the world." Many small sect cultivators, rogue cultivators, and students echoed, "That's right. This is just an excuse." Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu's eyes were sharp, his aura formidable. He said in a deep voice, "The sages of the world have gone through great efforts. What? Do you want to become enemies with the sages of the world?" The successors of other great sects and powerful nations chimed in. "Brother Huangwu is right. Untold danger is hidden behind the eternal portal. If everyone enters, who knows how many innocent people will die? The sages of the world joining forces to retrieve the treasures and share them with the world shows how much effort they have put in." A prince echoed, "That's right. Are you still unsatisfied with getting something for nothing? Don't listen to the malicious instigation of this wicked junior." The great sects and powerful nations, like the luminary ancient kingdom, had already joined hands. They were all in the same boat. These great sects and powerful nations wanted to exclude the small sects and rogue cultivators. Heaven knows what kind of opportunity lay within the eternal portal. If a small rogue cultivator obtained it, the loss would be too great. The azure profound heavenly sun stared intently at Li Qiye. "It seems necessary to eliminate a few malicious figures who sow discord," the azure profound heavenly sun slowly said. "Questioning the will of the sages of the world is an unforgivable crime." Li Qiye didn't care about the azure profound heavenly sun fanning the flames. He pointed at the tip of the azure profound heavenly sun's nose and laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha ha. Loser. Come here. Let this grandpa see if I can personally break your bones." Li Qiye was worried about not having an excuse to kill. Now that someone was delivering themselves to death, he was very happy. Li Qiye's overbearingness made many small sect cultivators and Heavenly Tao Academy students cheer. Of course, they didn't dare provoke existences like the azure profound ancient kingdom. They only cheered silently in their hearts. Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu stood up and said in a deep voice, "An ignorant fool. An ant trying to challenge a chariot. You are a mindless junior who dares to question the wise conclusion of the sages of the world. Today, you cannot be spared." Ba Xiao released his heaven-soaring overbearing aura and said aggressively, "Eliminate this malicious figure. I, Ba, am willing to assist Brother Huangwu." Li Qiye smiled and said, "Clowns also dare to call themselves favored children of heaven." Li Qiye was too lazy to look at them. He despised the so-called geniuses and favored children of heaven. Just as Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu, Ba Xia, and the azure profound heavenly sun intended to surround and eliminate Li Qiye, a voice like immortal music rang out. "Fellow Taoist speaks reasonably." A woman glided in. The woman walked gently, like an immortal descending to the mortal world, untainted by worldly dust, with peerless immortal grace. When the woman appeared, auspicious signs emerged. Lotus flowers fell from the sky, and golden springs gushed from the ground. She truly resembled a true immortal descending to the mortal world. Fairy Maiden Mei Suyao. The mortal world. Representative of the Long River School. Both her background and her own being made people wary. She was qualified to ascend to the pinnacle and become a legend of the current era. Fairy Maiden Mei Suyao glided over and said to everyone, "The Eternal Portal originally belongs to the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Heavenly Tao Academy, as the owner, is willing to share it with the world. What right or virtue do the various sects have to seize the property of others? Even the current sages have no right to seize anyone's property. All living beings are equal, regardless of status. Since the Heavenly Tao Academy is willing to open its doors, the opportunity within the Eternal Portal should be shared by everyone. Great sects and powerful nations, small sects, and rogue cultivators all have the right to share." Some small sects, rogue cultivators, and students from humble backgrounds cheered. Fairy Maiden speaks beautifully. Everyone inwardly agreed with Li Qiye's words, but few dared to praise him. After all, Li Qiye was thin and weak in power. Everyone silently agreed but lacked the strength to help. Fairy Maiden Mei Suyao was different. She herself was profound and unfathomable. Furthermore, the Long River School behind her was terrifying. The Luminary Ancient Kingdom and the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom were far inferior to the Long River School. Mei Suyao stepping forward to support everyone made Luminary Great Talent Zhu Huangwu's group's expressions change. They didn't want this situation, but Mei Suyao was stronger than them. The Long River School was beyond comparison. The Luminary Ancient Kingdom and the Azure Profound Ancient Kingdom couldn't compare to the Long River School. Zhu Huangwu said in a deep voice. Fairy Maiden speaks reasonably, but some malicious individuals should be expelled. He cannot be allowed to remain in the Eastern 100 cities to continue sowing discord. Luminary Great Talent. Zhu Huangwu spoke while staring intently at Li Qiye. A clear laugh rang out. Since when did your Luminary Ancient Kingdom represent the entire Eastern 100 cities? Bing Yuxia slowly walked over. She was cross-dressed as a man, embracing a beauty on each side, all stunningly beautiful women. Bing Yuxia looked like a dashing, romantic young master. Right before everyone's eyes. Bing Yuxia still acted as she pleased, embracing beauties without caring about anyone's gaze. Bing Yuxia walked over and smiled. The Eastern 100 cities belongs to the human race. To the world. The human sages established this vast land so that any human could have the right to remain in the Eastern 100 cities. Who gave your Luminary Ancient Kingdom the authority to expel human disciples? Luminary Ancient Kingdom or Raging Immortal Holy Nation, what is so great about them? If you want to monopolize the Eternal Portal, just say so directly. Don't use ridiculous excuses. Don't use a tiger's skin as your banner, losing all the face of your immortal emperor ancestors. If you have a feud with Li Qiye, just fight and kill him directly. Don't raise the banner of righteousness, claiming to question the decision of the sages. Why don't your so-called sages show their faces here, so everyone can see which talented individuals deserve to be called sages? Acting awkwardly when you are men, being one way in public and another in private, you are truly hypocrites. With such character, you dare call yourselves geniuses, dare talk about competing for the heavens will in the future. It makes people laugh until their teeth fall out. Compared to Fairy Maiden Mei Suyao's polite elegance, Bing Yuxia spoke with more arrogance, coarseness, and hot temper. The students from humble backgrounds, rogue cultivators, and small sects secretly exclaimed their satisfaction. They didn't dare offend the Luminary Ancient Kingdom or the Raging Immortal Holy Nation, but they couldn't help but cheer inwardly, feeling that Bing Yuxia's scolding was excellent. Li Qiye clapped his hands. Little sister, those words you said have the true demeanor of the Ice Feather Immortal Emperor. Li Qiye smiled and said, I like you more and more. Bing Yuxia glanced at Li Qiye and said, Forget it. This princess only likes beauties. Not interested in men. Bing Yuxia's frank admission stunned many people into silence. Bing Yuxia was a stunning beauty, but she loved beauties. This was no secret in the Eastern 100 cities. Thank you for listening to the story on KTN Storyverse. Please like and subscribe to support the channel.